Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
We have former NHL goalie, now real estate mogul, Eddie Lack on the show. Eddie, welcome to Average Jocks.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for making the time. Especially, I know you were just at a showing and you're fitting us in, so we definitely appreciate you doing that for us. Is it Shane Doan's house since you're in Scottsdale and now he's going to Toronto?
No, it's not. He's keeping his house here, but yeah, no. I am pretty close to his house though, but it's not his.
That's pretty cool. So we normally start by talking about your career. We'll go in your career order, and then we'll talk about some current stuff. So starting off, you started in Vancouver. Not a bad start breaking into the NHL, getting to learn from one of the best in Roberto Luongo. What was your experience like coming up behind such a interesting guy? I mean, as we all learned over the years with his Strombone Twitter account, how was it, I guess, learning the ropes from somebody like that?
I mean, Lou is such an unbelievable guy, just in general, and like he always, I feel like he was always one of these guys that cheered for me as well, and I cheered for him, and I felt that we had a really good partnership, and obviously like a really interesting, fun guy to be around. Like I think that throughout his like career and kind of like the middle part of his career, he was kind of getting like, but everyone thought he was just this grumpy guy all the time. And then when he got this this Twitter account, right? I just think that people finally got to see the person he is, and yeah, just like an unbelievable guy.
I mean, definitely has a lot of personality that you don't get to see too often, and I find even less in goalies. You know, a lot of goalies are very, straight-faced and very, shy. They're not too talkative in front of the cameras. So, especially like you said, whenever he came out with this Twitter, it was very lively and in a side of a lot of hockey players you don't necessarily see, especially while they're still active in the league. But it was really cool to see, especially what TSN was doing. I mean, he had like back-to-back what looked like some pretty serious bromances, with Corey Schneider and then yourself right after. So looks like he got pretty lucky on his end as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting, like how his Twitter came about and everything. And like obviously in the beginning, no one knew that it was him, and then like the word kind of started to like spread, but it's never really been like confirmed even up to this point, right? So like I almost feel like that's why he could still kind of make fun of it and still keep some kind of what do you call it?
Like
anonymous,
anonymous.
Yeah, right.
I was trying to conjugate it and I couldn't.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like fun, because I think that he could make a little bit more fun of himself that way and everything too, and yeah, like the way it grew just organically, it was just like so much fun to see.
So when you first came, like going into Vancouver, like it's fucking cold in Vancouver. I don't know what it's like I don't know what it's like in Sweden, because I know you played a lot of your hockey before going to Vancouver was in Sweden. Like, what was the biggest change for you when you like moved to Canada?
Guys, you think it's cold in
No,
Vancouver?
it's
like
not cold in
I
Vancouver.
I like
Very warm.
played in Sweden and I played in like Winnipeg was my first year pro. Like Winnipeg was cold. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Calgary was probably worse for the
Winnipeg
4
is
games you had
nuts.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Hey, four games in net, but a lot on the bench.
Yeah. And that's the coldest. I hated sitting on the bench. I would have rather been in the press box.
Yeah.
Get snacks.
Were you a gloves?
I agree. No,
Did you wear like little mitts under your gloves, under your blocker and trapper when you were if you weren't playing?
not in the NHL. No,
Okay.
no. But I did like growing up and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. See, because Joel played goalie too, so I never. I don't have. I'm a player, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's I never did the gloves. No. Um. So did the boys? Sorry, I have ADHD. I'm all over the map. So just to wrap up the Twitter conversation, did the boys in the locker room know that it was him, or was it all just again nobody saying anything?
Oh yeah, for sure. Everyone knew that it was him, and like we were like tweeting back and forth and everything. So like yeah, like it was fun. Like and the whole locker room kind of got involved at some point and everything. So like yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Um, so Adam mentioned you, playing a lot of your hockey in Sweden, coming over to Canada. I mean, you were lucky enough, you end up in Vancouver, where there were a couple of pretty good Swedes on that team already, with the Sedins. How easy did they make your transition from, Sweden to Vancouver?
No, it was great. I mean, like even my first rookie camp, I remember I was in the car with Danny, I think, and Hank called and told him that he was going to be the next captain, right? So like even just like early when I wasn't really a part of the team, I was just like the third goalie, right? Like they kind of took care of me from like the start, and then you had Alex Adler too. So like it was fun, and then when I kind of became a part of the team there a couple of years later, it was like it wasn't just the Swedes that were great. I mean, there's so much leadership in Malhotra, like Kessler, the list goes on and on, right? So I like think that I was fortunate enough to do those first year with like that group because like uh, they were really winners in that group, and I just like it's like so like sad that they didn't win the game 7 against Boston, but they're all winners in my book.
I mean, hey, arguably two of the best guys to ever play the game.
Well, for sure.
Did you accidentally mix them up at one point? Did you actually call one the other name on accident, or can you actually tell them apart?
No, I could tell them apart. Like Hank had a little longer forehead and stuff. Like when you get to know them, you could kind of tell them apart. And there's this like quiz online. It's called the only thing on the entire website is like can you name which Sedin twin this is? And I think I had like 9 out of 10. I think I screwed up on like one. That was hard, but yeah.
We'll have to look up that test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah.
I actually, me and a couple buddies play a game, and it's like Sudoku, but hockey players. It's called Puck Doku.
Yeah.
And I was really racking my brain today. It was a lot of heavy goalie questions in this today's game. And you
Yeah, I think
actually
a
were,
lot of people. Yeah,
pardon?
a lot of people tagged me in that one on Twitter. I think I saw. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I was on there.
I definitely used you this morning to complete my game and get to the 9 out of 9. Little Carolina
Nice.
Vancouver cross.
Oh, that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, yeah, that stresses me out. I see that and I can't get any of those right.
Yeah, no.
That's not good. As I'm on a hockey podcast.
Yeah, no, that's you're not solidifying your contract for season 2 here.
Well, it's just the way.
So you grew up, you played with you started your career with Vancouver, you end up in Carolina with another great group of guys, and we were saying this, or I was saying this with Ian White last week, that it seems like everywhere you went, there was like a sweet group of guys that you got to play with.
Yeah.
And just, super fortunate, that you got to go to so many great cities. And I mean, for somebody who's never played in the NHL, any of the 32 is a great city. But there's definitely, you like to be on a winning cultured team when you're playing. So you were fortunate enough to be there. What was the big differences, I guess, going from maybe a Canadian market like Vancouver to Carolina?
I think it was just everything around, right? Like in Vancouver, they took care of everything, so you don't really have to think. I mean, like we had the best food like every day. You had breakfast, lunch, and you could bring a meal home if you wanted for dinner, and like the chef and everything was in like house and stuff, and yeah, like it was just everything was taken care of. You had the sleep doctors, and I mean, like everything that you can think about was thought on, right? So, Carolina, when I was there, I think I was there a few years too soon. Like even just like team wise, the last like 3 years they've been really really good too, right? And with the old owner, they didn't really have all that stuff covered with like food around and like plane rides and hotels and everything. So like Carolina was definitely more like budget than Vancouver at that time. But I also heard that like a lot of things have like changed with the new ownership and everything there as well. So yeah, it's um and I'm not knocking on Carolina or anything. It's just like, I mean, the Canadian team like bringing so much more revenue and everything, and we weren't that like that good with Carolina at that time either, right? So it all makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, you played for, and I mean, I've met Bill Peters, and I mean, you had Rob Brindamore as an assistant coach. I feel like having met Bill and seeing Bill's personality over the few hours that I got to spend with him, seems very different than Rod is. Rod seems a lot more serious and a lot more business. Was it like a good cop, bad cop situation?
I mean, no. I mean, Bill was kind of bad cop when I
Really?
played there. So no, like, and I think that's kind of the strength of Roddy too, because like Roddy can read the room, and I think he knows like very very well like when it's time to have the whip and when it's time to have the carrot, right? So I also think that's why he's doing so well, right? So no, I, I I almost wish that I got to have Roddy as a head coach because I think his like style would have fit me pretty well too. I think.
And I mean, you got to another solid goalie to learn under, in Stanley Cup champion and Cam Ward. Was there anything that he brought different to the table that you got to learn from that was different from Roberto?
I think like during games and everything, I think Louis was a little bit more like quiet and more into himself. I would say like Cam was a little more talkative and like could joke around a little bit and I really appreciated that with him and like his like look that he had on hockey. Like I love his mental side of the game and yeah, just like the mental side he brought really with him and also I just became really good friends with and Carolina to do the hurricane warning and everything if they made the cup final this year and obviously they lost to Florida, which was kind of sad because I was looking forward to going there and catching up with all those guys.
Yeah, it's really cool. How would you feel though, like if you were in Carolina and they wanted to do that storm surge, like that stuff they do after the game where they do their little like celebrations?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Would you embrace that as a player? Would that be something that excites you, or are you more like, let's just head to the locker room?
No, 100%. I mean, and that's the kind of stuff that I like, and I like to interact with like the fans and everything, and that's kind of the issue today, I think, because like you have some players that interact with fans, and then they go through like a little bit of a slump maybe, and they kind of get crucified for it, right? And we need more players, and we want more players to show the personality, but every time that one does, I feel like it just gets thrown back in his face every time, right? So no, like I would have loved the storm surge. I think it's like an extra element of fun for like the fans and like especially like the young kids in the stands and everything. I feel like they like really embrace it.
I think what we're getting at is all players should have a burner account like Luongo.
Yeah, maybe that's
But I have two phones though, because I know Kevin Durant's gotten into a lot of trouble because he's forgot to sign out of his burner account.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless as
That's
well.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Like for you, like having a goalie like those big names, like I don't want to say how like did it help your game, or were you like a little scared, like worried that like, oh,
like intimidated?
Yeah, intimidated, I guess you should say. Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean like I don't think anyone at that level is really intimidated because like you've earned your spot there, right? And I like playing with those guys because I like knew that they were better goalies than me and I learned stuff from them. But like you're also going through like a healthy competition because only one guy can play and that's the fun stuff, I think, where it's like you juggle still being friends and like supporting each other but you're also competing and pushing each other at the same time.
So you go from Carolina, you end up in Calgary, where you now have an interesting kind of dynamic with David Riddick and Mike Smith, who just does not seem to want to retire. I think he's still looking for a contract.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like Mike Smith is a different breed. Like, I feel like he's the last of the goalies that's down to fight.
Yeah.
Was he like scrappy in the locker room? Like, I feel like you look at him the wrong way and he's probably good to go. Like, he'd drop him.
Smitty's intense. I mean, like even in practice, it was like you practice as you play, right? And like whenever he stepped on the ice, he was 110%, and I appreciated that with him. Like we had a lot of good like talks and everything, and dinners on the road and everything. So like I liked Smitty, and I just wish that I got to play a little bit better there. Like part is my fault. Part is like I didn't really play a lot in the exhibition games, and then I think it went 6 weeks before my first start, right?
Yeah.
When the season is starting, it's not really a confidence builder, right?
Yeah.
So I just went through like a rough time there, and didn't feel like I played my best, but I didn't feel like they like really wanted me there either. So yeah, it's I liked living in Calgary, and I like the people and everything there. I just like wish that it worked out a little bit better, because I could have see myself having a more long-term role there, but yeah, it just didn't work out.
So it's interesting because not many people get to. I mean, Mike Smith and David Riddick, I guess, both also played in multiple Canadian markets. But what would you say the difference was between Vancouver and Calgary in terms of what that looked like? We see the different, how passionate fan bases are, like especially in Canada, but like how was it in Vancouver compared to Calgary?
I mean, I don't think the fans and stuff were any different between the two Canadian cities. I mean, obviously Calgary's rink sucks, and like they need a new rink, and I would say that was like the only negative in Calgary, I would say. But like the fans are passionate. I like living there. Like made friends with people during those short months that I'm still friends with now, and yeah, I just kind of wish that it worked out a little bit better than it did, but yeah, it is what it is.
We've had a few goalies on. I've never asked this question because I always forget it, but I thought of it today. So you're wearing twice the amount of equipment as players are. Well, not twice the amount, but a lot heavier equipment. They get to get off every 45 seconds. As a goalie, how exhausting is it to play 60 minutes of it's pretty well nonstop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how does it, like, at the end of the game, do you just want to just fall asleep in your cubby when you sit down?
No, you're just so ramped up, right, when you play, and like I was one of those guys. I always had a hard time falling asleep off the game, so I never could really fall asleep until like 3 hours, like 3 a.m., like 4 a.m., right? So like your body was tired, but like you were so mentally focused and like on that that it was tough to turn the brain off. But yeah, like I think on average a goalie probably loses like 6-8 pounds every game and just like water weight, right? So it's definitely hard on the body, and that's kind of what we see with the playoffs and everything. Like
Mhm.
except for Vasilevsky, it is really tough to play 60 games and like then have a good playoffs. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just really tough because it's so many games and like you are gonna get tired eventually. I mean, like my weight when I started every season was like 203, 204, and then at the end of the season it was like 189, 190. So
Mhm.
like it is tough on the body for sure.
Do you think that the approach that the leagues, or I mean, not necessarily the league, but the trend that teams are doing now, where it is more of a 1A, 1B situation, and the split is a lot more even, except for, like you mentioned, the Vasilevskis or the Igor Shesterkins or Connor Hellebucks that seem to play, 60 games still a year. Do you think that that is a smarter approach for goaltender management?
Yeah, I think so. And it's kind of where these go. There's just so many injuries all the time now, like
Hmm.
too. I mean, you like see Aiden Hill won with Vegas now, and like I mean, when when the playoffs started and everything, like no one thought that he was gonna play here, right? So like
No.
I almost feel like you need like three good guys now to be able to compete because you do want to rotate a little bit and like you also want to have your guy fresh to avoid injuries and everything.
So, like, your first win in the league was a 5-4 OT win against Calgary when you were with Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah.
How, like, I mean, obviously any milestone, whether it's your first goal, your first point, your first game, your first win, shutout, so on, is something that you're going to remember. Was it more special that you did so against a rival and in overtime?
I don't know. Like I don't think it's really matter that it was a rival. I mean, I was just happy to like be in there and play my first game, you know, like it's funny because I never like got really comfortable, you know, like you never know like when you play your first game you're like shit, is this gonna be my only game or like am I gonna stick or like right
Mm.
so like um I would say that I never really got like that super uh comfortable that I knew that I was gonna be like with my team for the next like 2 or 3 years, you know, like you always just kind of take every season, every game as they come, and do your best. But like, yeah, I was just really nervous before my first like game. I remember we were wearing these heart rate monitors and everything during the game, and the strength coach was sitting up top, and he was like, Eddie's heart rate is like 190 during the national anthem, right? So yeah, just I was nervous, but I think when the game starts and you get like in your rhythm, I like think that you fall back to your practice and you play the game for so long, right? That you just kind of fall, fall back into old habits and old reads and everything. But then I think I will when the game starts.
Um, so you've gotten to play with so many people, great players, like we mentioned. I mean, and even whenever you were playing junior, you and Jacob Markstrom were playing on the same team. Like I feel like you've just played with, you know,
So many great names.
so many great names. And I mean, I was rooting for you in Vancouver. I absolutely loved, you know, you and Bobby Lou as a tandem. I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And after you left Calgary, you end up in Jersey again, probably like you mentioned with Carolina, a few years before you'd probably want to be with the team, with the squad they have now. What's it like there? Like I feel like that's somewhere, unless you know your team plays there, you don't hear much out of Jersey. What's the atmosphere like playing there?
I liked it. I mean, the Rock was nice to play in. I like the facilities. I like all the guys around the team. My teammates and everything were great as well. Like it's nice there because you have the game rink, right? But then the practice rink is in the same building. So you just walk like right to the practice rink and you walk left to the game rink. So like Jersey was good. I think they take great care of like their players and everything. For me, that was kind of like one of my hip issues started to show themselves and like I was always able to kind of play through it, but then Jersey was the first time that I needed 3 weeks here to rehab or like four weeks there and rehab, right? So that's like kind of when I felt that I'm gonna have to do something about this, or like my career is probably gonna be over soon because I felt that I couldn't really play as good as I wanted because like the hips were kind of restricting me and stuff, right? So um there and like didn't really regain like all the mobility in the back and my hips and yeah that's like when I kind of felt it was done.
How is that like mentally having to be like you being so young and having to come across that decision? Like I feel like that would be a very tough hurdle to overcome at such a young age to come to that, you know, realization and that acceptance.
Yeah, no, it was tough. I mean, like hockey was my entire life, and I told myself before the rehab that like if I'm not gonna be 100%, I'm not gonna do it, you know, because I'm not gonna play at 78, 80, 90% because I already done that and I didn't like think that it worked, and I like since it was injuries that kind of took stop for me, like it was kind of easy to accept it, I think. Just um, I like kind of knew pretty quick that like this doesn't feel that much different. So yeah.
Um, so I mean, post hockey, um, you became coach, your goalie coach for Arizona State University. Um, like how did that come about?
Sorry, I'm just finishing a text to client.
Yeah, no worries.
Um, so I just golfed with like the coaching staff and everything here, and I felt that it was something like it was fun for me to still stay in the game in some capacity. And Yeah, like it was fun. I'm not gonna do it next year just because college changed the rules and stuff, right? So now they have three assistant coaches, and I don't have time with my real estate stuff and everything to be on a full-time job or anything there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was fun to be part of that journey because the program grew so damn fast. And the coaches there and everyone around the team. I mean, like the way that they made this program from like scratch to making the tournament twice as an independent. I mean, like it's unbelievable. And now with the new rank and everything, it's going to be a lot easier to recruit, obviously. So no, I'm like proud that I was part of that program, and I'm still really good friends with coaches and everything, and I'm still gonna be like behind the scenes, right? Like, I never hold my opinion back. So, um, when the goalies are doing something that I don't like, they're gonna hear it still. So
That's good. I
Yeah.
mean,
they're not rid of me
I always appreciated
completely.
that as a player. That uh, being kind and mincing words doesn't get you very far in sports. Um,
No,
so go ahead,
So-
Adam.
No, I'll tell you. No. Okay. So when you were playing game day, did you have any weird superstitions, or did you have to do a certain thing before every time you were going to start?
I didn't really like. Everything was just very. Um, it was like normal routines. Like I don't really think that I had any superstitions or anything. I was pretty easy that way. Like, but I wanted to eat the same things, but it was more like because I felt good when I ate those things, right? And yeah, nap around the same times. So like I more found just like
Routine.
um, good routines and good habits, but I wouldn't say that it was like superstition. And if I didn't have it my way, that I broke down, because I've seen guys just like it has to be that way. But I was never like that.
Yeah, that was my next thing. What did you play with somebody that I was like, if my skates aren't 3 millimeters on an angle, like they'd freak out?
So I was actually goalie partner with Ed Belfour in Leksand in Sweden, and he was super weird about his skates and stuff. He sharpened his own skates and everything. I mean, it was just like, and if it didn't feel exactly like he wanted in warm up, and it was different ice surfaces and everything, like yeah, uh, he was very just like weird about that.
So I just pulling up research as you're talking. ASU is the team that plays out of Mullet Arena, correct?
Yeah.
So as somebody that I mean obviously has been there, how is it having an NHL team play in a 5,000 seat stadium?
I mean, it's weird, obviously, and it's not a long-term solution, but I also think they kind of made the best of it, and it's. I was there. I thought the atmosphere was good. Like I had season tickets for 7 home games, so like I was there quite a bit, and I really hope that they get to stay here, but it's not looking too good. But like Phoenix in general had like being one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. I mean, doesn't see what Gary's trying to do it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that people recognize you more now as a real estate agent whenever people see you out in public, from your face probably being on billboards and ads? Or were you recognized more when you were playing hockey?
No, it was way more when I played. I don't think it's comparable. It's but I do get a lot of Canadian clients that saw me play and they maybe got referred to me by like a friend or something like that. So no, like I was a lot more well known in Canada than what I am here.
How did you come about real estate? Did you just were you like always wondering how it was, or and you were just like, oh, maybe I'll try it to see, or
Well,
did
no,
like
he seen Love It or List at Vancouver and he fell in love with the show.
No, like I was investing in real estate while I was still playing, and my family's pretty heavy into real estate back home as well. So like I always knew that was something that I wanted to do in some kind of capacity when I retired, but um, obviously it happened a lot sooner than I thought it would. But it yeah, like everything happened for a reason, I think, and I'm happy. I'm like happy with my life now, and I get to spend a lot more time at home with my kids and everything instead of being on the road all the time, and so I'm never really one of these guys to look back and like think like what if I did something differently, you know. I'm always just like trying to look ahead.
I love that. I'm gonna ask this question. If you don't have to answer, if you're not allowed to, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in somebody's house while showing a house?
Oh God.
I don't know if you can't answer it. I ask the stupid questions on the podcast, so
No, but the weirdest thing was probably I was doing a showing and they had a renter in there. It was like a baseball player for spring training here, and we thought the house was empty, and like we walked through it for a good 15 minutes, I think, and then we came to the master bedroom and it was not empty. He was in there with a girl, so
Oh wow.
yeah.
And for
Yeah, so
15
we
minutes
walked in on him.
he didn't hear, like,
We didn't hear anything, and
I
yeah.
guess that's something to add to the listing. Soundproof
Soundproof
master bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
Moving on to some current NHL stuff. And I saved this question for you. This happened a couple weeks ago. And just wanted to pick your brain since it was out of Vancouver. Ian Cole, who just signed with Vancouver, kind of went under fire because he chose to wear number 28 that he's worn his entire career. Vancouver prospect Luc Bourdon had number 28, and he passed away very early on in his career. And it's kind of been, and I didn't realize this until Ian Cole came out and released a statement, that it was almost like an unwritten rule that you don't wear number 28 out of like respect. Is that something that was like common knowledge? Like is that something that the trainer said, like when you're picking your number, like here's the ones you stay away from?
Yeah, I mean, I never really had that issue in my career, but like, yeah, it's obviously you got the retired jerseys and stuff that you can't wear, and then like it's kind of like iffy with the Ring of Honor stuff, right? So I never really had to have that discussion with them or anything, but I'm happy that Vancouver handled it that way, because I think that you should still show like respect for Luke and his family, right? So yeah, it was the right way.
Do you think that if it's this unwritten rule, they should just either add him to like the Ring of Honor or
Not even give the option of that number.
yeah, like I don't want to say retire it because
Yeah.
it's an honor to have your jersey number retired and brought up to the rafters, but I know like Montreal a few years back did kind of like the patch or for the number 4 when Beliveau died. Like I'm not sure. Like it seems like you should do something around it so it's maybe more common knowledge so that players that are coming in, like Ian Cole just did, doesn't end up in that situation where they have to come out and be like, hey, sorry, didn't know.
Yeah, no, like I feel like it's something that the team should obviously set. It's probably something that just slipped in between seats, but yeah, like that's one of the biggest things in life too, right? When we make a mistake, we apologize and like we move forward. And I think that like every party involved did like the right thing, I think so.
Was there a reason behind number 31 for you?
So I actually had number 28 when I played in Sweden. That was my number in Sweden, and then when I came over here, I was the last guy to leave training camp in Vancouver to get sent down to Manitoba Moose, and my flight like just got there for the I think like second or the third game of the season, and they were on the road, and I just like started unpacking my stuff in my stall, and the 31 jersey was there, and I wore it ever since. So
Oh,
yeah.
So you didn't even have a say.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like, this is what you're wearing.
I didn't even have a say. It just
Wow.
happened.
Interesting.
That's-
So now just well, we'll finish off with a hockey question, and we got a few fun stuff to throw your way.
I got a lot of nonsense to ask him.
I'm not sure where this is going to
Well,
go.
it's not bad.
So a question I like to ask is if you could pick, being a goalie, your 2 defensemen to play in front of you. It can be guys you played with. It can be guys that were retired before you played. It can be guys that are playing now. If you had to pick 2 guys, mix and match any 2, who would be your ideal defense pairing in front of you?
It's like really hard not to pick 2 Swedes when you have Nick Lidstrom and Victor Hedman. So those are definitely my 2 picks.
Every single person, when we say pick a defenseman, whether it's a goalie, another D-man, even the few forwards we had, everybody picks Nick Lidstrom, which I think is a testament to how good of a D-man he was. And I feel like he was quietly good.
Yeah.
And then Victor Hedman's just a monster. And he looks scary. Like, he looks intimidating.
Yeah.
Pardon?
No, he's so good. Like, he's so good. Yeah.
Wow, that was words, Adam. When you were playing, who was the hardest slap shot you took? Like, what was the one time you took a shot, whether the pads, the chest protector, and you were like, thank God I had that on, because if not, that probably would have killed me.
I think it was probably my first year in the minors, and Sheldon Surrey was down in the minors too. And like the guy just had a fucking bomb. Like,
yeah.
So I remember like they had a 4-on-3 power play in overtime, and like he was obviously the one-timer guy, and everything fed through him. And like the first shot that I got like hit me like square in the chest, and I lost like my breath and everything. I couldn't breathe, and like they just kept feeding him and like feeding him, right? So Sheldon Surrey, and then Sami Salo had a bomb too. I played, so he was out for like a while, and then this was also my first year, so I was in the minors, and they sent him down for conditioning. So we were on the road. I think we're in like Wilkesboro or something, and we were gonna play Saturday, Sunday. He was gonna play both games and like feel like good, and then get called back up, right? So we played the first game, his only AHL game in his career, and he scored 2 goals. and what one of the shots was like in between the blue line and the red line. And the goalie saw it. It was just like, just like unbelievable. Like he skated around in practice and everything, and he maybe put like 70% in because like he didn't want to hurt the goalies in practice. So like yeah, like huge bomb.
I love that. That just makes me happy. I'm glad you didn't get hurt. Like that, getting a shot in the face. Like
yeah.
For me, the video I always think of, I was it when Kevin Weeks was playing for New Jersey and the puck went through his mask. Was that it?
Yeah.
Kevin Weeks?
Yeah.
That's like for some reason, like all the Don Cherries I watched growing up, I remember that. And like, I remember as a kid being like, oh, that's so crazy. And now you see it and you're like, holy fuck, that guy almost got the puck in the eye, you know?
Oh, scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that it? That was your crazy?
No, that's not my nonsense. Okay. No, that's not my nonsense. It's just the start of the nonsense.
So being in real estate, aesthetics is very important part of your job. And I have a bone to pick. And it's not necessarily with you, but it's the people of Sweden.
Okay.
And I want to know, is the furniture in Sweden as difficult to put together as the ones that I get from IKEA? Because that has almost ended my relationship a few times when we bought a desk or a piece of furniture and we're reading the instructions and I'm trying to pronounce the screw or the piece we need to put together, and it doesn't work out. It causes a lot of fights.
So not all the furniture is like that. It's just IKEA, which is the cheapest ones. So
fair enough.
So you get IKEA for a fair price, but you got to pay something for that, right? And it's something outside of a monetary value. So like when you buy IKEA, you gotta ask yourself, is it worth the divorce, or should I go and buy something for a little bit more expensive?
I have since, I'm 7 years into my relationship now. By year 3, we started going with the more expensive.
It's worth it. But I just installed an IKEA closet in my son's room. So like that was just like a couple weeks ago. So yeah, like you just always got to ask yourself the question, is it worth the fight?
That's true. I mean, yeah. I just get mad and then my wife builds it without me.
Yeah.
That's just
no. We've opted for that now. If we don't build things together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's all right. Out of all the places you played in, who had the worst food? Like where you would like only eat one thing, like a certain thing every meal because you just couldn't abide by eating anything else.
Well, Stockton wasn't very pretty. And when I played there, one of the first weeks, me and my wife were just walking on the town because I was staying in the hotel. So I was just back and forth, right? So I was just staying in the hotel right next to the rink, and we ventured into town just to find like a place to eat lunch. And as soon as we got out of the car, we got stopped by like a cop and was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Like, and we're like, "Okay, yeah, we're just grabbing lunch." And he's like, "Well, this is not really good. Like, you guys should just go down there. It's a good spot to right here that you can go, but don't go on this street." And we're like, "Okay." So, and then while we're eating, I'm getting a call from the team manager who is like, you're not allowed to go on the street like this, like because something bad can happen. So just stay in the hotel, order your room service, and like everything will be good. And I was like, well, great, this is awesome.
You can go to bed to the sound of gunshots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and I have a bone to pick with Swedes as well. Why do you guys all have awesome hair?
I don't know. I'm losing it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. Like,
It's so nice.
I have a few friends that don't have it, so not everyone's got the awesome hair.
Are you as secretive about your barber as Henrik Lundqvist is?
No, I'm not. I actually get my haircut at Lifetime, my gym that I go to. So
wow.
yeah.
I didn't even know it's a service that gyms offer. I know tanning is a big one, but haircuts.
Yeah. I'm not as picky really. Like I don't have a lot of time in my day, so I just want like someone that knows what I want, and I'm in and out in like 15 minutes, right? So yeah, quick and easy.
Yeah, I'm about that. I mean, I got a haircut today, so I knew you had nice hair, so you know.
You look good, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't help that my hair is gray as fuck, but it's all good.
All right. Well, I don't see you. You're a busy guy. You're back at the office. We'll let you wrap up your day. We appreciate you coming on, Eddie. We'd love to have you on again in the future. Do you have like a promo or a slogan for your realty you want to leave us out on? A big charming smile.
I don't know if I have a slogan, but yeah, if anyone is looking down here, I'd love to help out, and you can find me on at Eddie Lack on Instagram and Twitter, and yeah, would love to connect with you all.
Perfect. We thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care, Eddie.